Only Gatsby, the man who gives his name to this book, was exempt from my reaction. Gatsby, who represented everything for which I have an unaffected scorn.
Wow, what a way to start, huh?
It really is. It just grabs you immediately, sets up this huge question about Gatsby right from page 1.
Welcome, everyone, to the deep dive. Today, we're jumping into the beginning of a truly iconic American novel. We're not reading every line, but pulling out the key pieces.
Yeah, think of it as getting the essential story beats. Our mission really is to unpack these early parts, who the characters are, where this all takes place, and, the first big twists.
Exactly. How do these initial encounters and choices start shaping everything that follows? It all starts with our narrator, Nick Carraway.
Right, and that quote you opened with, that's Nick speaking. He immediately tells us about advice from his father.
Oh, yeah, the advantages. Quote, "Whenever you feel like criticizing anyone," his father told him, "just remember that all the people in this world haven't had the advantages that you had." And Nick says he tries to live by that, reserving judgment, which, interestingly, makes him the kind of person everyone confides in. Sometimes, as he admits, maybe too much.
So that sets him up perfectly as our guide, doesn't it? He's supposedly impartial, just listening.
Supposedly is the key word there. It makes him a great witness, maybe a bit passive, but he gets drawn into all the drama because of it. Background-wise, he's from a solid upper-middle-class family in the Midwest, went to Yale, fought in the Great War.
And came back feeling, what was it, restless.
Yeah, restless, kind of alienated. So spring 1922, he heads east to New York to get into the bond business. Wants to be a well-rounded man, he says.
And that move lands him squarely in this really symbolic setting on Long Island.
Yeah.
These two land masses shaped like eggs, East Egg and West Egg.
Separated by a bay, yeah. And Nick ends up in West Egg. That's the less fashionable one.
Yeah.
New money.
Right, in this tiny little rented bungalow that's hilariously overshadowed by the place next door.
Gatsby's mansion. It's this massive, almost absurdly huge place. And that contrast right there, Nick's little house, Gatsby's palace, it sets up the whole West Egg versus East Egg thing.
New money versus old money.
Exactly. East Egg, across the bay, that's where the old aristocracy lives. Inherited wealth, established social standing. And that's where we meet the Buchanans, Daisy and Tom.
And Nick knows them. Tom went to Yale with him, and Daisy is his cousin.
Right, his second cousin, once removed, so he goes over there for dinner. And it's quite the introduction to East Egg life.
Tom Buchanan. Big, imposing guy, ex-football star,
Yeah.
enormously wealthy. Nick notes he sort of peaked physically and socially back in college.
Definitely gives off that vibe.
Yeah.
Arrogant, entitled, flashing his wealth, talking about his polo ponies, just throws his way around literally and figuratively.
And then Daisy. Nick describes her voice as captivating, low, thrilling.
Yeah, a voice men apparently found difficult to forget. She seems charming, maybe a bit sad and lovely on the surface, but there's this undercurrent.
That strained comment about her daughter, hoping she'll be a beautiful little fool.
Chilling, isn't it? It says so much about her view of the world, especially for women. And also at dinner is Jordan Baker.
The golfer. Nick finds her intriguing, a bit aloof maybe, with that pleasing, contemptuous expression.
Self-sufficient, yeah. Though we find out later she's not exactly straightforward. There's that story about dishonesty in her past.
So the dinner party itself, it gets pretty uncomfortable fast.
Oh, yeah. Tom just launches into this racist rant. Started talking about some book, The Rise of the Colored Empires.
Ugh. And going on about the Nordic race needing to stay dominant.
It's really stark. Shows the ugly prejudices simmering just beneath the surface of this wealthy, supposedly sophisticated society. And Daisy, she doesn't really push back, just sort of makes these vague, unthinking comments.
Like, we gotta beat them down. It's all very hollow.
Exactly. And amidst all this lovely dinner chat, the phone keeps ringing. It becomes clear Tom has a mistress in New York.
And Daisy knows. You can feel the tension. Jordan even leans in and tells Nick about it. Tom's got some woman in New York.
So much for the perfect East Egg facade, right? It cracks pretty quickly.
So after that charming evening, Nick heads back to his little bungalow in West Egg, and that's when he sees him. For the first time.
Gatsby. It's such a memorable image. Nick sees this figure standing alone on his lawn, in the dark.
Just looking out across the water, reaching his arms out.
Towards a single green light, way off in the distance, across the bay. You don't know what it means yet, but it feels incredibly significant.
And Nick has this immediate feeling, doesn't he? That Gatsby, the man who owns this huge, ostentatious house, is somehow different, exempt from his scorn.
Yeah, it sets Gatsby apart from the Buchanans and their crowd right away. There's a mystery, a sense of purpose maybe, even in that one gesture.
That green light,
Oh.
it hangs there. Okay, so from the glamour, albeit tarnished glamour, of the eggs, the story takes us somewhere completely different.
Drastically different. The Valley of Ashes.
Describe that for us. It sounds pretty grim.
It is. It's this industrial wasteland between West Egg and the city. Just ash heaps, factories, smoke, desolate, a grotesque place, Nick calls it.
And overlooking it all are those eyes.
Ah, yes. The eyes of Dr. T.J. Eckelberg. Huge blue eyes on this giant, faded billboard, wearing yellow spectacles, just staring out over the wasteland.
Like the eyes of God, some have said. Or maybe just indifference.
It's ambiguous, but they definitely add to the bleakness. A silent witness to this dumping ground, this forgotten consequence of the wealth next door.
And it's here, in this valley, that Tom decides Nick needs to meet his mistress.
Yeah, Tom just insists, drags him along. They stop at George Wilson's garage. George is Myrtle's husband.
And George is described as completely oblivious, right? Blonde, spiritless, anemic. His business isn't doing well.
He seems totally beaten down by the place, completely unaware that his wife, Myrtle, is having an affair with this rich guy who stalks by his garage.
And Myrtle herself, she's the opposite of George.
Oh, absolutely. Nick notes her vitality right away. She's not conventionally beautiful, maybe thickish, but carries herself with this sensuous energy. You can see why Tom's attracted to her, but also her deep unhappiness with her life there.
She clearly despises George.
No question. And when Tom tells her to get on the train to the city, she jumps at the chance. The trip to New York, it's like she's shedding her skin.
She buys a puppy on a whim.
Yep. Then gets to the apartment Tom keeps for their affair, changes into this fancy dress, cream-colored chiffon, and her whole personality shifts. Suddenly she's putting on airs, this impressive hauteur.
It's quite a transformation, and this leads to that party scene in the apartment.
Which just descends into chaos. It's small, cramped, everyone's getting drunk fast. Myrtle's sister Catherine is there, the McKees.
The photographer and his wife.
Right. And the gossip starts flowing, especially about Gatsby. This is where we hear the first really wild rumors.
What kind of things are they saying?
Oh, you know, that he's related to Kaiser Wilhelm, the German emperor. Or maybe he was a spy. Or that he killed a man.
So already this air of mystery, maybe danger, around him. Where did his money really come from?
Exactly. Catherine says she's actually kind of scared of him. And Myrtle, getting drunker, tells this story about how she first met Tom on the train. Felt this immediate connection, this sort of desperate, you can't live forever impulse.
But the party really blows up later, doesn't it?
It does. It ends very, very badly. Myrtle keeps provoking Tom, taunting him by shouting Daisy's name over and over.
Daisy! Daisy, Daisy!
And Tom just loses it. He hauls off and hits her, breaks her nose.
Wow. Just raw violence.
It's brutal. Shatters any illusion of glamour around Tom or this affair. The party just dissolves into mess and confusion after that. Nick is completely shaken.
Yeah, he describes getting out of there and ending up wandering around Penn Station half asleep.
Yeah.
A pretty harsh dose of reality after the glitter of the eggs.
A very harsh dose. It really exposes the ugliness underneath.
Okay, so after that, we finally get properly introduced to Gatsby's world. The famous parties.
Ah, yes, the parties. Legendary. Describe the scene at Gatsby's house on a party night. It's just over the top. Hundreds of people, orchestras playing jazz, endless champagne, motorboats on the sound, his Rolls Royce acting like a shuttle bus. Blue gardens, Nick calls them. Just sheer, dazzling extravagance.
But it's weird, right? The guests.
Very weird. Nick notices that most people weren't actually invited. They just showed up, treating it like an amusement park, drifting in and out.
And many of them have never even met Gatsby. The host is almost invisible in his own massive party.
Which is part of the mystery, isn't it? This incredible spectacle, but the man behind it is elusive. Except Nick gets an actual invitation.
Hand-delivered by a chauffeur. A formal note. That feels significant.
It is. It singles Nick out. Gatsby has apparently seen him around, knows he's Daisy's cousin. This isn't random. There's a purpose behind connecting with Nick.
So Nick goes to the party, feeling a bit out of place, actually trying to find his host.
Right. He's one of the few people there who actually wants to meet Gatsby.
Okay.
He bumps into Jordan Baker there, which is convenient. And he has that funny encounter in the library.
With the guy with the owl-eyed spectacles.
Yeah. Who's amazed that the books are real. He thought they might just be cardboard fakes. In a house built on appearances, the library is surprisingly genuine.
And then finally, he meets Gatsby. But sort of accidental.
Completely. He's talking to the stranger, commenting about having a good time, and the guy reveals he's Gatsby. And they realize they knew each other during the war, served in the same division.
And Gatsby drops his signature phrase.
Old sport, yeah. Uses it all the time. It's part of his cultivated persona.
But Gatsby himself remains hard to pin down.
Very. He's charming, has this incredible smile, but he keeps getting pulled away. Phone calls from Chicago, Philadelphia, always busy, always slightly out of reach.
And then he tells Nick his life story. Or a life story.
A very carefully constructed, highly improbable life story. Son of wealthy Midwesterners, all dead now. Educated at Oxford, a family tradition.
Which Nick immediately doubts, right? He says Gatsby kind of rushed the word Oxford.
Yeah, it doesn't quite ring true. Then Gatsby talks about traveling Europe like a young Raja, collecting jewels, hunting big game, trying to forget something sad. It's all very romantic novel.
But then he offers proof.
Yeah.
Or claims to.
Right. He pulls out this medal, supposedly from Montenegro, for his valor in the war, decorated by every allied government, he claims, and a photograph of himself at Oxford with some earls and dukes.
And Nick is sort of swayed. He says his incredulity was submerged in fascination.
It's hard not to be faced with the medal and the photo. Gatsby is trying so hard to sell this version of himself, but then things take a darker turn.
When he introduces Nick to Meyer Wolfsheim.
Exactly. His friend, or business associate, Wolfsheim is introduced as a gambler, and Gatsby casually mentions he's the man who fixed the World Series back in 1919.
Whoa, okay, so that confirms the source of Gatsby's wealth is likely shady. Connected to organized crime, maybe.
It adds this definite layer of danger and illegality. This isn't just inherited wealth or lucky bonds. This is something else.
And right after that, Tom Buchanan happens to walk into the same restaurant. And Gatsby just disappears.
Vanishes.
Yeah.
Clearly avoiding Tom, which is another huge clue.
And Jordan Baker's the one who finally puts all the pieces together for Nick.
Yes. Later, Jordan explains everything. Why Gatsby bought the house, why he throws the parties, why he wanted to meet Nick. It all comes down to one thing. Daisy. Gatsby is desperately in love with her. He wants Nick to invite Daisy over to his little bungalow for tea, casually, and then arrange for Gatsby to happen to drop by.
After all that expense, all that show, the actual request is incredibly simple. Almost touchingly naive.
It's stunning, isn't it? He built this entire world, this purposeless splendor, waited 5 years, bought that specific house across the bay from her.
Just for the chance to come over some afternoon.
Wow. Jordan says he's terrified Nick will refuse. He was hesitant because he heard Nick was friends with Tom. It reveals this vulnerability beneath the tough exterior.
So Jordan then gives Nick the backstory. The history between Gatsby and Daisy.
Yeah, she takes him back to Louisville in 1917. Daisy was the beautiful, popular belle, 18 years old, always in white. All the young officers were crazy about her.
Including a young Lieutenant Gatsby.
And apparently Daisy was mad about him, too. But he was poor, about to ship off to war. Her family disapproved, stopped her from even going to say goodbye when he left for New York.
And then she married Tom Buchanan.
A hugely wealthy, socially acceptable match. But Jordan tells this story about the night before the wedding. Daisy got incredibly drunk, was holding a letter.
Presumably from Gatsby.
And wanted to call the whole thing off, crying, saying Daisy's changed her mind, clutching this expensive pearl necklace Tom gave her.
But she went through with it.
She did. She married Tom. And Jordan adds that Tom was unfaithful almost immediately, mentions some incident with the chambermaid on their honeymoon.
So that's the history. And Nick realizes now why Daisy reacted so strangely when Jordan mentioned Gatsby's name earlier. She recognized him.
The man she used to know. It all clicks into place.
Okay, so Nick agrees. He'll host the tea.
But Gatsby is an absolute nervous wreck about it. He's sending people over to cut Nick's grass, offering Nick shady business deals as a sort of payment.
Which Nick refuses.
Right. Reinforcing Nick's integrity, but also Gatsby's ties to Wolfsheim's world. Gatsby looked like he hasn't slept. The day comes, it's pouring rain.
And the reunion itself is awkward. Painfully awkward at first.
Gatsby's so flustered, he knocks a clock over on Nick's mantelpiece. Just complete nervous energy. Silence.
Until Nick leaves them alone for a bit. When he comes back, things have shifted. Daisy's been crying, Gatsby's glowing.
And then comes the tour of Gatsby's house and that famous scene with the shirts.
Oh, right. He starts throwing his expensive shirts, silk, linen, all these colors onto the bed.
And Daisy just buries her face in them and cries stormily. Says she's never seen such beautiful shirts.
It's such a strange emotional reaction. What's that about?
It's partly the sheer overwhelming display of wealth he's put on for her. It represents everything he's done to win her back, the years of obsession. Maybe regret, too. What she missed. It's complex.
And Gatsby shows Nick he's kept clippings about Daisy all these years. His obsession is total.
And during the tour, he lets slip that it took him just 3 years to earn the money for the house, directly contradicting his inherited wealth story again.
This leads to the real heart of Gatsby's dream, doesn't it? What he tells Nick later.
Yes. He wants to erase the past 5 years. He genuinely believes they can go back. He wants Daisy to tell Tom, I never loved you.
Just wipe the slate clean, go back to Louisville, marry her as if time stopped in 1917.
It's an extraordinary, almost impossible dream. And Nick, being the grounded one, tries to tell him.
You can't repeat the past.
Gatsby's reaction is pure disbelief. Can't repeat the past? Why, of course you can. He is utterly convinced that he can recapture that moment, fix everything.
That line, no amount of fire or freshness can challenge what a man can store up in his ghostly heart. He's living for that stored-up dream.
Absolutely. And this unshakable belief, this delusion really sets the stage for the inevitable collision course. The tension just keeps building.
It culminates on that incredibly hot summer day. They're all at the Buchanan's house.
The heat is oppressive, mirroring the emotions. Daisy does something pretty bold. She kisses Gatsby when she thinks Tom isn't looking, tells him she loves him. But Tom sees.
And then Daisy's daughter, Pammy, is brought into the room.
That's a huge moment. Gatsby stares at the little girl with utter surprise. Nick thinks Gatsby had never really believed in its existence before.
Because the child is physical proof of the 5 years he wants to erase. Proof of Daisy's life with Tom.
Exactly. It shatters the illusion just for a second. Tom sees the look between Daisy and Gatsby. He knows what's going on now, and he's furious.
He insists they all drive into the city to confront things.
And then comes the fateful decision about the cars. Tom insists on driving Gatsby's car, that noticeable yellow Rolls-Royce. He takes Nick and Jordan with him.
Leaving Gatsby and Daisy to follow in Tom's blue coupe, this swap is critical.
Absolutely critical. On the way, Tom, in Gatsby's car, stops for gas at Wilson's garage in the Valley of Ashes.
And Wilson looks sick. He tells Tom he's found out something is wrong, suspects Myrtle is having an affair, and he wants to take her away, move west.
Tom is momentarily panicked about losing Myrtle, but then the real tragedy unfolds. Myrtle sees the yellow car pull up from her window upstairs.
And she recognizes Gatsby's car.
But she sees Jordan Baker sitting next to Tom in the front seat, and in her jealous terror, she assumes Jordan must be Tom's wife, Daisy.
Oh no, a terrible mistake.
A fatal misunderstanding, driven by jealousy and the high emotions of the day. It sets up disaster.
They all end up at a Plaza Hotel in New York. The heat, the tension, it's unbearable.
They get a suite, try to cool off, but the argument just erupts. You can even hear a wedding march playing faintly from downstairs, adding this layer of irony.
And Daisy, caught in the middle, finally makes her move, telling Gatsby, in front of Tom,
that she loves him. Or tries to. It's conflicted, messy. She tells Tom, you resemble the advertisement of the man about Gatsby. Tom is just astounded. He realizes he might actually lose her.
And that's where the confrontation really ignites, setting everything hurtling towards the climax.
It really is. These opening chapters meticulously build this intricate web, don't they? Relationships, secrets, impossible dreams, simmering resentments.
We've met everyone, seen their flaws, their desires, the cracked veneer of their world. It's such a rich setup.
And as you listen, you can see how it's not just about these specific people in the 1920s. It taps into something deeper about ambition, illusion, the stories we tell ourselves.
Think about how all these pieces, the money divide, the affairs, Myrtle's mistake, Gatsby's relentless dream, are all pointing towards tragedy. You can feel it coming.
Definitely. And maybe the final thought to leave you with is Gatsby's core belief. Of course you can repeat the past. What does that desperate need to recapture something lost time tell us about hope, about love, maybe even about self-delusion, especially when the world itself never stops moving forward?
Something to chew on. We'll dive deeper next time.